if somebody's just tuning in for the first time,
Yes.
and they don't know who Christopher Scott is, you are a local clairvoyant, psychic, and medium, among many other things. You got started with this about age 12.
Yeah, I was really young. When I was 12, that's when I got introduced to it by my grandmother, teaching me, how to read the poker cards, tea leaves, dice, and things like that. And I kind of, started doing readings for like family members, neighbors, and next thing people kept coming back. The stuff, things they were happening. And so by the age of 15, I took an ad out in the nearby town I grew up close to, which was Zanesville, Ohio. I grew up close to there, and took an ad out advertising my, these readings. And that's when I started reading for the public.
And you were what age at this time?
15.
15? Wow. Was that a lot of responsibility for a 15-year-old? I mean, sometimes doing readings...
I didn't know then what I didn't know. I was just doing it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that make sense? And I didn't really understand or think about or recognize the magnitude then. So.
Well, that's probably good then at that age.
Yeah, I would say so, because that really can psych you out. That could really put up a lot of mental barriers and blocks, and as you know, that's not good for somebody who's trying to do readings or anything to have,
Right. So you were introduced to different divination tools at age 12. Now, were you psychic like at age 5? Do you remember seeing spirits? Or?
Yeah, actually I do, looking back. But when you're that young, you don't know anything else what to compare it to. Do you understand what I'm saying?
True.
I don't know anything else. I only became to realize as I got older more and what's compared to and things. I hope that doesn't sound really ambiguous, but that's the truth.
No, I mean, if that was your reality, then that's all you knew, and you didn't have anything to compare it to. That makes sense.
But throughout my years in what I want to call, you can call it New Age, occult, whatever, psychic field, there isn't much I haven't had my hands into one way or another when it comes to psychic abilities, prediction, divination, everything from mediumship, automatic writing, tarot cards, poker cards, everything. I mean, there isn't much, I have not studied or had my hands into, but but there's, I try to streamline it, and because you can scatter your energies so thousands of different directions in this field.
I was just curious why you were interested in all these different things, just because you have a thirst for knowledge, or because you wanted to
in the beginning, I really didn't know. My grandma kind of influenced me, and then after she got me started, then I couldn't get enough.
You couldn't get enough.
Could not get enough.
You wanted to be a well-rounded reader.
Well, I never even had that pursuit. I just knew this felt right, and this is what I wanted to do, and I grabbed a hold of every paperback book and everything I can get my hands on, from horoscopes to astrology, everything, and it just made sense to me. Does that make sense?
Oh, I can totally relate to that. Yes, certainly. So then you've even studied in Chesterfield, Indiana, which is a spiritualist community.
And Cassadaga, Florida.
And Cassadaga, Florida. Right. What is it like being in a spiritualist community?
When I first went, I was probably 16, 17 years old. And the first time I went, I was there, and the feeling was, I'm home. I have come home. I've come home. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here. And there's growth spurts. You have an experience, and you study, and you grow, and you learn, and you kind of plateau, and then another one happens. And that was a big one for me when, my teenage years, that really carried me, and I studied under some of the people out there, and later on down at Cassadaga. So what was it like? It was wonderful. I just felt like I'm here. At last. I just felt so connected, and just.
And of course, there was more knowledge there for you to
gather. Oh, yes. I was ready to pick up what they were ready to show me at that point. Do you know what I'm saying? I was ready for what they had to give me.
Well, when the student's ready, the teacher will come, right?
Right, and then will come, and the ears open wide, and then will come the lips that will fill them with the wisdom. And that's what happened.
Right, and part of your wisdom is about what's happening right now.
Which goes back to the study of comparative religions and theology, because it is a solar event, being winter solstice.
Winter solstice, which happened at 2:44 a.m., as I understand it, this morning. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And along with that, the moon
Well, yes, we have a full moon also at the same time. It's a solar, event with a full moon at the same time. And as you said at the beginning of the show, it's been since, my God, 130, 33, 35 years ago.
I heard 133, you heard 135. We're not sure, but
since this has happened. And it's just really it's kind of interesting, it's unique. But winter solstice was, my God, observed in Western Europe and many other cultures around the world for, oh my God, thousands of years. And and then after the Dark Ages, going into the Renaissance, the Christianity coming in, northern Italy, Germany, Austria, and they took the old holidays and things like that and Christianized them. And also,
and were these pagan holidays?
Yes,
they
were
pagan.
Yes, they were pagan. Well, what we observe, what we call Christmas today, is a whole plethora of many different traditions of Celtic and all kinds of things. But December the 25th that we call Christmas, used to be the Persian deity Mithra's his holiday, and Mithra. It's a Persian, yes, Mithra. Persian deity. And what's interesting about that is the followers of that tradition and religion also believed in heaven and hell, believed in and had baptism. But the church, simply realized, these people are not going to let it go, their traditions, so they simply incorporated them and Christianized them. And
now, is this pre-Catholic as well?
Oh, yeah, Catholic Christian.
Way back,
yeah, yes.
All right.
After you have the fall of the Roman Empire and then the Dark Ages and then
so they had the baptism.
Yes, they had baptism, and so did other cultures and things too. But also, when you go into another parallel thing here, we observe Christ's birth December 25th, but I mean, actually, the best we can come up with is around the time we celebrate Easter in the springtime is when we think really he was actually born. We observe it the 25th of this month. When you study Egyptology, you have Mighty Mother Isis, and then you have, like Mother Mary, and then you have the birth of Osiris, the sun deity. This is a sun, solar event. So there's a lot of comparative things there, with that, which I find tremendously interesting.
Yeah, and we could do a whole show on that. But
right.
And actually, we're going to be doing a little bit more of that tomorrow on our show tomorrow. But let's talk about this event that's happening right now.
Okay.
It's not going to happen again in our lifetime.
Well, unless we
as I understand
130-some years or so or more.
Right, it's going to be another 130-some years before this moon and this eclipse happens at the same time.
More than likely, yeah.
And the moon is closest to the Earth than it's been.
And the sun, and this is the longest night of the year.
Right.
And the sun is the furthest, as I understand it.
Yeah. And if you didn't get a chance to see the moon last night, make sure you get out there tonight because it is so bright and so close. It's beautiful.